Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Holiday. Celebrate. Holiday. Celebrate. If we took the holiday, took some time to celebrate, just one day out of life, it would be so nice. Everybody spread the word. We're gonna have a celebration all across the world, in every nation. It's time for the good times. Forget about the bad times. Oh yeah, one day to come together to release the pressure. We need a holiday. If we took the holiday, took some time to celebrate. Come on, let's celebrate. Just one day out of life. It would be so nice.
Hi, Lisa. I see you. Are you ready? Just a little holiday cheer. I'm ready. I don't know about you.
Good morning. I'm just going to rename myself. Okay. How's everybody doing? What's happening? I feel so like out of touch. I have no idea what's been going on the last 10 days.
Good morning and welcome back, fresh off the airplane.
Thank you. Well, yeah, fortunately it's Texas time, so it's way later in the day because I get concerned when I'm always doing something the next morning about jet lag. I feel totally good at the moment. So I know Michelle has a couple things she wants to cover. Is she on yet?
I don't see her yet. She'll be joining from her car, but I don't see her at the moment.
Okay, well, I have a couple of items that I want to go over. What did you guys talk about last week? Just out of curiosity, does anybody remember? I know it was like 7 days ago. You guys remember? Anybody give me an update on what you guys covered? Keoni?
Things, of course, that were talked about.
It was super interesting because Keoni was hosting.
That's right. It was the best call ever. I know that already. So
it wasn't anything specific. It was more like kind of just things out there that were going on. No conventions going on still. It's about to be done here, and you can still access old content in there.
Okay.
And then renewals, of course, are your license renewals. So make sure if you haven't done your CE, you better get on it.
Yeah, that's coming up pretty quick, right? I mean, they want everybody to get everything done by November 30th because there's no guarantee. I mean, if you guys wait, that the DCCA may be a bit slow in getting your stuff renewed and processed. So you want to make sure that you don't get stuck with an inactive license for any period of time. She's probably going to talk about that also. I'm just looking for my notes. I had a couple things that I wanted.
Can I say something about that?
Yes.
DCCA is being really slow anyway, so I would recommend you guys do it as soon as you can.
Okay. Okay, cool. Cheryl, do you have sorry, I remember one of the things. I'm just looking for my notes. Okay, I got it. Go ahead, Keoni.
I concur with what Sam said.
Oh, okay.
I'm pushing all our new people that sign up to just get licensed in 2021 because they won't get it by, they won't get their license this year. So no sense pay that.
Yeah,
money.
we tell them, well, we can send in the paperwork and then you just mark on there that they'll start the beginning.
Yeah,
I do. Go ahead.
They have a checklist now that they send with the licensee or the candidate when they're done with the test.
Okay.
At the state level. It's a it's a choice list, right? So I tell them just choose the bottom one and off it goes. So
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Up until maybe a week or so ago, people were still activating their license as soon as possible prior to the end of the year because it's high season, right? And a lot of people want to take advantage as much as possible. And now we're in that transition place, that threshold where they probably won't get it done before the end of the year. So therefore, you can save the money now. The flip side to that, though, of course, is it still could be a difference of a couple of weeks, meaning they will start, let's say they start processing January 1st, everybody that says they want to go January 1st, they may not get actively licensed until 3 weeks after that or 4 weeks after that. So it's just as long as everybody's clear on that. As far as you guys that are already actively licensed, it's, just a matter of making sure that you've done your CE and you have your renewal taken care of in your portal and that you paid that. Okay, so I wanted to touch on this. We're not super prepared yet to kind of talk about it just because Keoni and Michelle and I and some of the other brokers haven't really gotten together to go over what we kind of officially want to communicate to you guys about it in terms of whether we're going to, do anything as far as policy. I'm not really sure that we are. However, we might want to do an additional layer of education as far as what this means, which is the code of ethics, the new changes. The board of directors for NAR approved what they're calling a personal conduct policy and addressing discrimination as far as the code of ethics and how that applies and where it applies to the agents and what that means. I mean, obviously what I'll say about it today is, in any case, discrimination, discriminatory practice, hate speech, that stuff just in general is not tolerated as far as being a realtor, whether you're doing it on the job or off the job. So I think that's probably clear to everybody. And it seems to me the main purpose of that was to, one, assure that people don't completely separate their personal and professional life as far as when you're a realtor out there in the community in general at all times. You have a license, you're held to a higher standard. So one, to just be aware of that so that people don't have a tendency to be a completely different person when they're working with their clients than they are in their personal life. Now, there's a line there in terms of people, not wanting to cross a line as far as how people, what they do in their personal life. And just to be clear, my understanding is it's not about that. It's anything discriminatory at any time, personal, professional, is just in general not good, right? It's bad, it's wrong. You don't want to do it at all, whether it's personal or professional. When you're talking about discriminatory practice, hate speech, that's just a no-no.
Yeah, and that's basically the major change we were on with the I don't know, some NAR person yesterday.
Oh, that's right, you got on that call. Yes.
And so that is the major change where you're held to a higher standard, 24/7 basically. However, when it comes to, let's say, grievance committee professional standards, they're still looking at it as a licensing thing, right? So they wouldn't be forwarding on some, violation of that necessarily to the board and to the, RICO and those sort of things. However, you should be very aware that with this change, you are held to that higher standard 24/7, basically. So we can put together some slides for it, in next meeting or maybe the company.
Yeah, the team meeting would be a good time to do that,
Yeah.
I think.
It's a major change, but that's it basically in a nutshell.
Okay, well, and the other thing I think that they added that they wanted to make people aware of is in regard to social media conduct, because we don't really police that to an extreme extent, right? I mean, people can do whatever they want and everybody's got, this is not about politics. Everybody's got different political views. It's really about protected classes. So just as a reminder, we're talking about, race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, national origin, sexual orientation, gender identity, those things. So to be aware, really my message would be, I think we would all agree that when if you are doing things, I mean, again, your social media stuff, if that's your personal page, but if you are sharing something, Facebook, Instagram, it's the other thing is when you share something that somebody else posted, right? Like just to be aware of making sure that the content is not discriminatory in any way, right? You have to be very aware of protected classes, as you would in your real estate profession in general. And so even if you're not saying it, again, or the context is a certain way, it's just, again, it's an awareness. I mean, that's all I wanted to make you guys, aware of as far as what I understand at this point. And that's good, Keoni, you were on the call yesterday. Are there any questions? And as far as how that looks in the Code of Ethics and what it actually says, I mean, I think it just expands this discriminatory practice to things like social media, general conduct, takes the line between personal and professionalism and grays it a little bit. Anything else you guys have as far as questions about that or other comments or any articles that you've read? Because, I was traveling, so I wasn't really up to speed, and Keoni was more involved, and he was on that call yesterday, which I couldn't be on. Any other questions?
They did add it into a few different sections of the Code of Ethics. So like I said,
So
we'll put the
send that out. Maybe we can put the slideshow and I think the thing for you guys would be for us to highlight the new information for you and send it out so that you're aware. And it's just a good practice in general to be reviewing the Code of Ethics. That's why we're required to take it every couple of years, because it's good to revisit that and remind us of the things that could be considered discriminatory. I mean, kind of along the lines when we did that whole thing on safety, and we talked about how criminals think that we don't often think about how somebody that might want us to do us harm would think, because we think we're a good person. We would expect that other people aren't going to harm us because we wouldn't harm somebody else. And yet criminals think differently. You also have people out there, and this is not, I'm not putting them in the criminal department, but Keoni and I were kind of talking about that there are people that may abuse. Now, granted, if somebody is being discriminatory, there are repercussions to that. That's clear. However, there are people that seek out litigation that look for any comment in your public remarks, or they'll call you and ask specific questions. And then there are actually national companies that will call you, like for HUD, and make sure that you say everything the right way and you don't say anything that would be considered discriminatory. That if you're a property manager, like they have people calling saying, asking questions to try to trap you into discriminating against familial status, which, we've had clients. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've had clients that have said, they're going to rent out their own property, and, you have to be really careful if they're like, well, I am not going to allow kids, and whatever it is, you have to make sure that people are aware of what could be considered discriminatory, and that's part of our job. So there are people that just look for things when a broker looks at your listing and tells you that they would advise that you take out words like within walking distance to and change it to something like close proximity to. There's a reason for that. There have been lawsuits. People who are in wheelchairs have sued realtors for people that have written the word walking, because they're being discriminatory against handicap. So just, again, it's really just about awareness, and we want you guys to know to research it somewhat on your own, and we'll also send you out more information regarding this particular situation with NAR and the Code of Ethics. Anything else anybody has on that? Okay, great. Did everybody see that? Who saw that article that came down with NAR? Okay, so you guys saw that. Another thing I wanted to mention to you guys, since we're getting into the end of the year, OMG, can we believe that? It's November 18th. You guys, this year is almost over. Who's excited? Who's excited?
Yay, very excited.
Okay, moving on to 2021. It's pretty exciting. Okay, so Committees, so the Agent Leadership Council, for those of you who don't know, we have Agent Leadership Council within the office that's made up right now. I think we have about 7 or 8 agents that are basically part of the leadership of the office. We meet every month. They meet with me every month, which, by the way, you guys, everybody's welcome to audit those meetings. And we go through information about the company and the business and how the office is running. And then we also go through their businesses. And part of that is me and the other agents coaching them on, everybody coaching each other on the millionaire real estate agent models and growing their businesses. And so that's made up of some of the top 20% of agents in our office. And part of what we do is we have committees that we form. If you want to be involved, like basically you say, man, it would be so cool if our office did more social events, or, you know, you might want to be part of the culture committee, or you're really motivated about like wellness and health. Sharon Vijay is the wellness committee chair. You could, you know, be on the wellness committee. There's a financial planning committee. We have a technology committee. We're going to be adding an investments committee. I'm just thinking of some of the other topics: growth, education, career development. So if you're really passionate about some of those things and you want to be involved in a committee that is focusing on certain things for the office and for the other agents, or you want to help, or you want to, you know, hone your leadership skills and your skills in organizing groups, I would encourage you can let me know, or Michelle, or anybody, if you know somebody who's on the Agent Leadership Council right now, which is Joyce, Mitchell, Miner, Dawn Harris, Kaylee E. Beck, Michelle is on also, Randy Antonio, Nancy Montoya, who am I forgetting? Anyway, you can reach out to any of them or just me and tell me that you're interested. And if you're also interested in being on the Agent Leadership Council, that's something you can do. And if you're not in a position this year to do it, let's say your production is, you know, increasing, but it's not where it needs to be right now, then maybe next year you'll be prepared to be on the ALC. And if you want to grow again in leadership or management within the office, that's another great avenue to do that. So let me know if you're interested in a committee, because we're going to be putting those together for next year. And then we'll all be meeting together in January. I also want to give you guys an update. Thank you again to those of you who've been involved in our focus groups for the office, where we're looking at the 3 different models within the company. I really appreciate your feedback. It's been invaluable, and we're going to continue. We're going to do another meeting with the whole group before the end of the year, in the next couple of weeks. And then we'll be ready to move on to the financial component of that. And first quarter of next year, we'll have it ready to go. So please continue to help me with that. That's been really valuable. So thank you. And if you want to jump in on that, you haven't been involved in that, and it's something you're interested in, let me know. That's where we're talking about the dependent model, the interdependent and the independent model for agents at different levels within the company, and how we can best support them, and adding other services that we're going to provide for you guys as agents. That is, oh, and then let me just tell you about my COVID testing experience, because I now am somebody who actually went to the mainland and came back. So I can kind of tell you how that went and what happened. Now I went with American Airlines on the way back, and so American Airlines has its own, and now I think Hawaiian does as well. You can actually organize the testing through them when you're coming back. So, and you could tell your clients this information too. That's one of the reasons that I'm sharing with you. So what you have to do is you have to get, as you know, within 72 hours, you have to take a test. Now, this is a challenge to get the timing right, where you can take the test within the amount of time that you have to leave before your flight, and then to be able to get the test results back so you don't have to quarantine. It's a really, really tight window. Especially if you're in a place like Marble Falls, Texas, where I was, where apparently UPS does not go unless they have enough packages to pick up. So that became an issue for me. So I would tell you, if you have clients, depending on where they live, to either work with the airline and use whatever system that the airline is using. But if the airline is using a test kit, which is what we did, make sure that the UPS delivery, that they will get their stuff picked up, because UPS said they were going to pick it up and they didn't. So, and they don't communicate well with each other. I mean, we had to call back a bunch of times to get the right information. It's kind of, it's a little bit messy right now. One of the things you could do that we might do differently next time is instead of using the airline test kit, which is convenient in the fact that they send you it in the mail and you can actually do it. You do it when you're on video with somebody and then you send it through UPS to next day air to their lab. But you could go to one of the testing facilities that's approved by Hawaii and schedule your test there, which would help guarantee because you're going there physically and you're getting your results. The issue that I ran into, and this was the biggest issue that I want to communicate with you, is finding an approved testing facility that would let you take the COVID test for travel purposes. Very few facilities will actually let you take the test for the purposes of travel versus, meaning you have to have a doctor's note or you have to have symptoms. So there were many, I went through many places before I could even find one that would allow you to take it there. And then if they do allow you to take it there for travel, that it doesn't cost a fortune, which it is pricey, and that they would give you your results within the period of time that you need it. So if you want more information or if you're traveling, I did a ton of research. I can give you some information. Let me know. If the airline does it, just make sure that you follow it exactly and that you check with UPS, the local UPS delivery people, to make sure that they're going to pick up your package in a timely manner. Okay, so Crystal, yeah, if you want to call me or I can call you later, just reach out to me on my cell. I'll put it in the chat box if you don't have it. Okay, any questions about that or anything else we've covered so far? If not, we'll let Michelle take over. Michelle. Oh, Michelle, you're on mute.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome home.
Thank
You've
you.
been missed.
Oh, you're so sweet.
I wanted to just give everyone a heads up. NAR has made some revisions to their code of ethics, and they're going to be coming.
We talked, just so you know, I do want to hear what you have to say, but know that we did talk about that. That was the first thing we covered today.
About the code of ethics revisions.
Yes, we talked about what they were and that we're going to give them more information about the actual changes and we'll send it out to them. And then we just kind of gave some examples.
Okay, well, you just took my whole thing.
Well, you can reiterate. You're the PB. You're the official word. So you tell us what you want us to do
well,
or
it's
what
okay.
we're going to be getting from you.
What I just want to give everyone a heads up is that some of the changes to the code of ethics, specifically Article 10, we will be reviewing as soon as they're released. And the key change that I think our agents need to be aware of is that the articles do not just govern your behavior while you are practicing your profession of real estate. They have expanded it to now be 24/7 for some behaviors, and those behaviors are around discrimination, racial slurs, that type of stuff. And they are already citing agents. So they're going into your social media. So even if it's not your business page, but it's your personal page, or you're really a passionate person and you get into a diatribe or a debate online on Facebook or something, our local association and your peers are watching. So be mindful of how you conduct yourself. That's not to say concerns about the First Amendment or rights of free speech, but things that are specifically hate speech, discrimination, slurs, offensive to others. I just want to bring that up. It's forthcoming, and when we get it, we will be reviewing it in greater detail. So that was my first piece. Second piece, reminding everyone, continuing education. Our office has renewed our licenses. I have renewed my licenses. Everyone should be starting to see their license post online to that 2020 date. If anyone's having issues, please reach out to me so that I can coordinate with Sam Sinclair and get those items troubleshot and get you renewed on or before November 30th. If you haven't finished your continuing education and you don't know where to go or how to get it wrapped up, contact the office. Cheryl at the front desk has a list of resources that you can go online and do it at home in the evening, in the middle of the night, in the morning, whenever's good for you. But you have 2 more weekends to wrap up your CE. So anything we can do to support you, we will. We're excited to have everyone renew and go into a great 2020 cycle. The market is hot and exploding right now. And I'm just excited. I'm ready for the new year.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you very much for that, Michelle. So, okay, let's talk
You're
about a couple
welcome.
of, thank you. Let's talk about a couple of success stories. I'd love to hear somebody share something that you guys have been doing in the last couple of weeks or since we got together, since I saw you guys last, or something that you may have shared with another agent, but not with the company. I would love to hear what is working for you right now, maybe where your last clients came from, if you did anything promotional, marketing wise, or database wise that produced results for you. I would love for you to share. I see that Chris Haig is on. So I'm definitely going to ask you, Chris, to share what you did at the end of one of the classes that we had a couple of weeks ago. If you have the ability to talk, I can't see you on video, but if you have the ability to chat a little bit about what you've been experiencing with your database, with your calls, because you're one of the people that has been consistently doing that. I would love to hear that story for the agents. And then if anybody else has anything they would like to share that's worked for them, let's hear a couple of successes so that we can learn from that and maybe we can apply something in our business that we haven't been doing.
Hey, Lisa.
Hi, Chris.
So I'm actually driving, yes, but okay, I can talk hands free. So
okay, great.
Yeah, again, literally since back in March, I've been going through my database, and I'm now getting into the 3rd rotation of reaching out and doing care calls with my 1,000 client database. And I have never been so inspired in my real estate career and optimistic, and just getting to know my clients, calling them up to see how they're doing. My newsletters have, had a lot of information on assisting, with the reopening of the state. I actually sent one out this morning talking about the new mask mandate and the 13 new testing centers. And it's the response that I've been receiving has been incredible. And I've never been so encouraged, because you hear about how different realtors are basically 100% into referral business and just working with their existing database versus trying to find new leads. And the fact that I have a calendar book that is filled through March, April with visitation dates, and then following up a couple days before they get here to see if I can help with anything. This past week, I literally, I think 4 days in a row, I met with clients that were here on the island that otherwise I would have never met with. And most of them have made it clear to me that, within this year, next year, the year after, they are interested in buying something. And it's really encouraging to have a much better relationship with somebody I met at an open house than waiting for them to reach out to me. I'm blown away by the reception. In the multiple thousands of calls I've had, I've never really had anybody hang up on me or not appreciative that I've reached out to stay in touch. So again, the whole aspect of staying in touch with your database, I cannot speak more highly about.
So Chris, thank you for that. Just a couple things, and then Dean, I'm probably gonna ask you to share, so don't jump off. What script are you using? Are you using the bold care call scripts or the pivot scripts from
Nope.
Connect, or did you develop your own?
I'm using my own.
So it's essentially, how are things going? Can you give us just a general script?
What? Oh, okay, I'm dropping my wife off. I apologize.
Oh,
a little.
okay. That's okay.
So one of the things that I am doing that is also, so yeah, I'm using my own script. I'm just being, it is very, personable and just, I'm using definitely without question, some of the 4 techniques, just asking people about their, their family and their job and other aspects, to get them just to, vent, I guess, if nothing else, and share. But so one of the other things that I've done that I normally wouldn't do, but now I'm doing on a regular basis, anytime that I get a voicemail message, within about 5 to 10 minutes, I'm also sending a really nice text to them. And I'm actually getting an incredible response rate to my text, if nothing else. So again, when I don't make contact on the phone, I'm leaving a voicemail message and then following up with a brief text. And I'm just getting great response on that as well.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you, Chris. So care calls, you guys, touching people, seeing how they're doing, sending the text. I like that if you don't get them on the phone, and just building that relationship and making them remember you. And many of them may be buying now or in the future. And it's just filling that pipeline. So you have that consistent business, and you're the person that they go to. So awesome. Thank you. I know you've had great success with that. Dean, tell us about how this year has been for you and what you've been doing differently, if anything.
Hi, thanks, Lisa. Yeah, so, not actually doing a whole lot different is really the answer. What I have done is, prior to coronavirus, or up to the end of last year, I was really pretty heavily focused on trying to grab all these leads, and I was doing Facebook ads and all kinds of Google ads and stuff, and just trying to play that game of creating a large database and then working the database. But I realized pretty quickly that it's sort of not for me, it wasn't working as well. And that when I looked really closely at it, my business was coming through my existing database and referrals, and decided before coronavirus started that I was going to stop all of that and just look in and not really pursue the raw leads, but really take my existing clients to a much deeper level in this relationship. And the coronavirus sort of coincided with all that, so it really worked well. I was also very quick to pivot when coronavirus started, and have been doing a lot of coaching. And I kind of figured out pretty early on that, I think it was Gary Keller in one of his interviews that in a mastermind that I'm on, was talking about the fact that, high net worth and super successful people aren't motivated by the outer game. They're motivated by the inner game, meaning that they're not out there trying to compete with everyone else. They're really more focused and are more motivated and driven to master their craft and really focus on that part. So for me, that was a big moment and shift in my career, I guess, from, being, just being much more focused on what I'm trying to do, much more purposeful, and being much more motivated and driven. And my coach has done a really great job, I think, in keeping me on that track. So for me, it's been about the inner game, in the sense that I've been very committed to mastering my craft. And I've been 100% committed to education during this entire period. So I've really just kind of refocused, learned a lot, and really taken my relationship, like Chris is talking about, to a much deeper level, and really been focused on that too. So, not crazy different, but it's just a different shift, different goals. And I've been, really working hard towards this goal, and I think I'm going to hit it, which is awesome. I never expected to. I was like, when I burst out laughing when my coach first set my desired goals, and ultimately I'm pretty much there, so it's really exciting. And
I understand.
I'm doing a lot with less.
Did you say this is your best year? Is this your best year ever since you've been in real estate?
Yes, yeah, definitely my best year. Really, just the 7 months of coronavirus alone, it would be the best year that I've ever had. That's about 40 million in sales during coronavirus, and trying to push for 60 million by the end of this year. Actually, it's more like close to 50 million in coronavirus now. So, it's not, I haven't changed a whole lot. It's been very focused. I've been very dedicated to the things that I have control over and not being distracted by what I have no control over. If you've ever talked to me, you're going to probably be bored of my comments about things that we have no control are neutral, and I have no business, playing in that space. But that I'm so focused on my goal and what I have control over, and really identifying and eliminating the obstacles that get in my way of getting to my goal. And that's sort of a simple, synopsis of what I've done differently, but really has made a big difference for me. I'm not doing really I'm not recommending it, but I'm not doing any marketing, and all of my leads are organic through my website or referrals. So, what's kind of exciting is the fact that I have been able to have a good year, and I'm going to net about 97% of my income. I have a half-time assistant, and I really haven't done any marketing. So I saved about $1 million and not going to happy hour and restaurants every day for lunch. That's my that's looking at my credit card statements. It's been my big aha for me. It's crazy, but not a whole lot. But man, it's been really great. Clients are very receptive. The idea of things we have no control over, being neutral is something that I talk with sellers all about all the time. So everyone's very freaked out about what's going on, the coronavirus, the spiking, civil unrest, and whatever else has happened. I've just steered them all away from that completely with the fact is, we have no control over this. It's neutral. Let's move on to what we do have control over. And if just having an awareness around the thoughts that we have, so we talk about limiting beliefs all the time, but we don't talk about how do you overcome limiting beliefs, and that's coaching. And to me, my coaches rock my world, and that's probably the primary difference.
That's so great. So I'm going to thank you for sharing all of that. I took notes. I'm going to recap some of the things that you said and that I heard, and I'm going to kind of turn them into learning opportunities for everybody else as well. So number one, you both talked about going deeper with your database. Now, those of you who are seasoned agents and if you're not doing that and you have a database, well, there's one opportunity for you. If you don't have a big database, if you're newer or you're growing your database, then that should tell you there's an opportunity to grow that database, because that database is ultimately going to be your opportunity for the future. So what are you doing to grow that database if it's not at a place where it needs to be, that you can go deeper with them, whether that's existing clients or newer people that you're in relationship with? Mastery is a big one, I heard. So that's something anybody can do at any level of their business all day, any day, is learn how to master your craft. So what does mastery look like for you? What are some of the things that you guys need to do to be better at that? It could be understanding the market better. It could be understanding a niche better. It could be understanding your client's needs, doing a better job in buyer consultations, listing presentations, if you don't have that stuff set up. Scripts and role play. I mean, anything, those are things that you can be doing to gain more mastery, which is going to make you better, and taking classes and learning from that. So make sure that you're doing the work, even if you don't have a client to meet with in that day. And by the way, you can meet with somebody. I mean, we talk about going deeper with your database. If you don't have an appointment scheduled that day for a listing appointment or showings, have an appointment with somebody in your database and talk to them and touch them, or an allied resource that could potentially give you referrals, an attorney. Meet some of the people in that wealth group. And then coaching's big too, right? Making sure you're working with your coach if you're in the coaching program, or that you have a coach if you don't have a coach, because that coach will always take you to a new level in your business if they're a good coach. And then control things that you have control over and things that you don't have control over. So those are great.
Yeah, one of the great training programs that I participated was in the Ritz-Carlton Gold Standard of Service class that was offered to some of the luxury agents in Keller Williams. And it's really interesting to go through the Ritz-Carlton management training and really learn from the experience, because a big part of what I've tried to do in focusing in and trying to go to deeper relationships with my client is creating a level of service that's much greater than I've done in the past, and an experience that's people are going to be wowed by. And so that my focus has been more on trying to wow my clients with this great new service and standards, so that I can get referrals from them and ask for referrals while I'm doing it and while they're having a great experience, versus going out and trying to find new business and new leads. I've really tried to, part of go into those deeper relationships with your clients in your database. And I've tried to reduce my database. You know, everyone's like so grabbing, building a database, and that's all great because they're really just names until you can develop a relationship and convert them into a sale. So that, you know, I would say don't be as focused on trying to grab as many people as you can in your database. I'm actually trying to reduce mine to the point where I can actually be connected with these people in some way. You know,
Right. That's great. I mean, I think especially when you're newer and you're growing your database, going wide and deep, they're both important. When you get to the point where you have enough people and you start to see who those people are, and you have your A people that are your past clients and your referral business, right? And really going with those people, and then not adding as many, like you're saying, the C people are the people that you're not focusing much on, right? Those new people, that new business, or people that you don't have that relationship with.
The other thing that I'm having success
yes.
with, I would say as well, just real quick, last point, is with community service. You know, spent a lot of time in community service and starting a private school and being a president of the school board, you know, which seemed like a lot of hard work, but it's really become a great tool for me and a great lead generator. Having that connection to the community and being able to share the experience and what I've done with this school and this community right now is being much more receptive during this coronavirus time than ever before, I would say. People like those stories. Everyone's more into these kind of warm and fuzzy experiences and things that you do that aren't just trying to sell real estate. So I'm pretty focused on community service as a big part of my lead generation. And I think it's a great way to get under people's skin and to get really a relationship built with people. People, you know, they kind of impressed by the volume and amount of sales that I can do, but they're so much more impressed about the fact that I was, you know, 8 years a president of a school board and a founding member of a school and have donated over $500,000 to the school. That is what really resonated with people. And this time, in this coronavirus time, that's a big part of my pitch.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, finding what you're passionate about and helping your community and being involved. I'm going to answer a couple of the questions. So Crystal asked about inter-island testing. Sean, thank you for posting. CVS is offering pre-travel testing. Walgreens and Kaiser. Walgreens also and Kaiser provides the best payment coverage. And then Sean, I think you're asking about what Dean said, the Ritz-Carlton standard. So that is a course now that Brady Sondal, who's a luxury agent in Palm Springs, California, he put that together for KW agents. It is probably going to happen. I think, Dean, that's going to happen like at least quarterly, right? He's going to be doing that now.
I think so. And I think they're trying to incorporate it into the luxury division. I'm not 100% sure how it's all going to work, but it was a good experience just because, man, that level of service, there's nothing like it. You know?
So we'll let you guys know if we get another. He did send out a flyer. We'll let you guys know it. And then we don't know if it'll be offered to everybody or just the luxury agents, but at this point, we'll send it out to you when we get it. And then Cheryl says, I love that. A plug for you, Dean, for tomorrow. To hear more from Dean, catch Win with Buyers tomorrow at 1 p.m. where Dean will review his post-closing system. So that's very valuable. Thank you for sharing that tomorrow with everybody. So everybody be on that training tomorrow.
Yeah, also keep in mind, right after that at 2 o'clock, we have a broker open house in Plantation Estates. And it's an invitation, brokers open. It's going to be pretty awesome. There's 3 phenomenal properties that are going to be showcased. And man, I would really recommend, there's one house that I think is one of my all-time favorite homes that came on the market. It's not my listing, but it'll be on this caravan. It'll be well worth the trip. But, you know, we just noticed that we didn't have any RSVPs from Keller Williams agents. So we're hoping that some of you guys might be interested in driving out for that's a pretty special showcase right there.
So maybe we should send that out to everybody. Send it out.
Yeah, there's I'll grab the e-blast that's being sent out to all agents and try to get it onto our.
Okay.
Show, yeah.
Great. Oh, Joanne says she RSVP'd. Okay, awesome.
All right, Joanne, thank you.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much, Dean, Chris. Thank you for sharing. Sean, thank you guys for participating. And we will see you soon. Have a great rest of the week.
Thank you.
Take
Thanks,
care.
guys.
Okay, bye, guys.
Thank you.